What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the AM, guys. Welcome back to 5 Minute Rants. So, today, I actually want to talk about leadership and also really define the word driving. So, I say it's really important to drive, and it's really important to be in charge of your life and drive. But as a leader, one of the things that means is this. You, as a leader, you have responsibility on your life. You have responsibility to yourself. You have responsibility to others, and you have responsibility to God. And that's just how it is. And this is really for every individual, but especially when you're in leadership role. And part of your job as a leader is to take that responsibility that you have and then begin disseminating it onto the team. And so your job as a leader is to disseminate the responsibility of the work, the responsibility of the goals and objectives, and the responsibility of the vision of the company or the vision of the team. And a lot of leadership fails because responsibility is not disseminated. Now, what I mean by responsibility is the promise, right? We are responsible for keeping the promise, whatever we've promised, whether it's work, whether it's to show up at a certain time, to be present. And I'm defining it as a promise versus actual technical actions. Now, normally responsibility in the promise results in technical actions. Like, cool, I promise to do this. I promise to develop, design, code. I promise to ship these products. I promise to build this house. I promise to do whatever it is that you're doing, right? And it normally results in technical actions, but to see that it's the promise that really puts weight on what we do. Because if you haven't promised anything and then you start building stuff, there's no weight to what's being built. It's a hobby, right? There's no weight, there's no responsibility. But if you are in a relationship with a client, if you're in a relationship with your spouse and you promise to do something, cool. Now there's weight to that promise, and now you have real responsibility. And so there's automatic innate responsibilities that are cultural and societal and things that we're born with, like, we're responsible for treating each other well. We're responsible for loving each other and caring about each other. Like, those are things that are responsible for. And I'm responsible when I drive down the road to be a safe driver so I don't hurt other people. Those are given. Like, I don't have to make a promise out loud verbally. But if I'm in a leadership role at work and if I'm leading people within a company, and then I have a promise between clients, I have a promise between team members, and I have a promise between partners, I'm now responsible for keeping those. And where a lot of leadership fails is we do not disseminate the responsibility. We don't take it from ourselves and we don't pass on to the team. And let me tell you something that's really important. When you have worked in a team, and if you look back when you were part of a team, you wanted responsibility to be given to you. Everybody wants to be trusted. And everybody really innately wants responsibility on their lives. Oftentimes we'll run away from it because we're afraid of other things, right? Not so much the responsibility itself, but what might happen if we fail in the responsibility. We're afraid of those, so we'll reject responsibility. But more often than not, we really want responsibility. And when you do that, you talk about actually creating cohesive teams. You talk about creating teamwork. Now you have a way to hold people accountable because, hey, here's our promise. Here's what we said we would do. Here's what it would look like when we're finished. And now it is our job to keep it. And this is now a way for us to be accountable to it. So we've defined what the winning looks like. We've defined what success looks like. I said the winning, but we've defined what winning looks like and what success looks like. And now we're accountable. And I think it's really important to see that when we don't disseminate responsibility away, well, we move into micromanagement. So responsibility gives people the freedom to think and then partner. So if you look at any sports teams, and I think sports teams are a great way to see how responsibility shifts and changes, and then also a great way to see individual thinking, individual voices and talent and skill sets being implemented in a live way to where you can watch it work real time, right? So you don't just want people to just be a doer and like, hey, here's your checklist. This is how you run the job. Here's your checklist. That's horrible. And there are certain times for those, right? But you also want people to be able to think, hey, how would you do this? And they have their own skill set and they're able to perform and actually implement. And this even happened to me today being on a meeting. I requested like, hey, this is something that I need done. Here's some promises. And then the team member showed up and they did it in a different way than I would have. And it was better than even what I asked for. And so I'm saying this because giving them that room to think and giving them that room to perform is so important. And now we're actually operating as a team and we're collectively upholding that responsibility. Anyways, guys, I'm out of time. I'll catch you later. Peace.